مش عارف إنه هو الدكتور.
Good afternoon, you're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Linda Tamim and these are today's top stories. Maronite Patriarch Shadadai says the Jajahun Declaration of Intentions has left a favorable impact on the faithful and can pave the way for the election of a new head of state. Turks vote in crucial parliamentary elections taking into account economic promises, alleged state corruption and the Kurdish situation. And U.S. President Barack Obama urges fellow leaders of the G7 to stand up to Russian aggression in Ukraine. Maronite Patriarch Shadadai says the Jajahun Declaration of Intentions has left a favorable impact on the faithful amid revived hopes for inter-Christian unity. Speaking during Sunday Mass at the Ladies' Church in Kirki, the Patriarch said he regretted the politicians' failure to elect a new president for 14 months now. He noted that the Jajahun Declaration may well speed up the election of a new head of state and save both the parliament and the cabinet by appointing new security chiefs. March 14 officials do little to hide their frustration and sense of failure with every victory Hezbollah achieves against jihadi militants along the Syria-Lebanon border. Hezbollah has been fighting jihadi militants on the outskirts of Arsal over the past week, capturing more than a dozen positions and hilltops from Nusra Front-led fighters. The party official also said that the victories of the resistance in Kalamoun and Arsal's outskirts exposed domestic conspirators who wanted to protect the militants who slaughtered Lebanese soldiers and sent car bombs into Lebanon. Kaouk's comments come in light of growing tensions between Hezbollah and the Future movement over the Kalamoun offensive and its warning that it would enter the outskirts of Arsal to push jihadis out of Lebanon if the army didn't take action. March 14 officials say only the Lebanese army can protect the country's borders, arguing that Hezbollah's actions in Syria endanger Lebanon. They also accuse Hezbollah of trying to draw the army into conflict in Arsal. Firefighters were struggling for a third day to douse a massive blaze that had erupted at a utilities warehouse in Beirut's southern suburbs, which forced the evacuation of an entire neighborhood. Civil Defense Chief Raymond Khattar said this was one of the most difficult fires ever encountered. 2 days after the blaze erupted at a warehouse belonging to the El Karud chain store in Hadas, the Civil Defense says it has succeeded in containing the fire and preventing it from spreading to nearby buildings, but efforts to put it out were still ongoing. Dozens of firefighters battled the blaze for several hours after it broke out on Friday. They had believed the fire had almost been doused until it reignited on Saturday. It was reportedly caused by some explosions of spray cans containing highly flammable materials. Economic promises, alleged state corruption and the Kurdish situation are some of the issues being considered by Turkish voters as they go to the polls in parliamentary elections. The outcome of the polls could also determine whether ruling party politicians can rewrite the constitution to bolster the powers of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The ballot box is open at 8 a.m. local time and will close at 5 p.m. with non-official results expected by the end of the day. Public surveys prior to the election indicated that Conservative Justice and Development Party, known as the AK Party, was in the lead. The AK Party, the ruling party for the past 13 years, is seeking to secure 2/3 of the 550 seats in the parliament in order to change the constitution to replace Turkey's 92-year-old parliamentary system for a presidential system. U.S. President Barack Obama has urged fellow leaders of the G7 to stand up to Russian aggression in Ukraine as he enjoyed a traditional Bavarian welcome ahead of their summit in Germany. In a sign of togetherness designed to show absentee President Vladimir Putin the unity of the G7 over the Ukraine crisis, Obama said ties between the U.S. and Germany were one of the strongest alliances the world has ever known. He also hailed the enduring friendship between the American and German people in a speech warmly applauded by Bavarians in traditional dress, quaffing beer and munching pretzels. For her part, Merkel praised the United States as an essential partner despite occasional differences of opinion. EU President Donald Tusk, also attending the meeting, said he wanted to reconfirm G7 unity on sanctions policy against Russia. And coming up next, director and writer Jimmy Kairouz is in our studios for an exclusive interview with Yumna Naufal. Stay tuned. Over to you, Yumna.
Thanks, Linda. With us today is director and writer Jimmy Kairouz. He's working on his thesis project at Columbia University in New York City. It is a film project titled Nocturne in Black. Here's an introduction.
When you set out to write a good story, you hope to create one that has meaning and layers, but it also needs to be personal and have characters the audience can relate to. My film Nocturne in Black tells the story of Karim, a disheartened young musician who struggles to rebuild his piano after it was destroyed by jihadists. The story takes place in a war-ravaged Middle Eastern neighborhood where daily activities that we take for granted, such as smoking tobacco, improper dressing, and especially music, have been banned.
Every day we hear about people starving, about children being traumatized and left unable to speak, about barrel bombs being dropped on civilians. And there is nothing we can do about it.
Even though our film takes place in a world that seems hopeless, our story is about hope, freedom, and survival. When Karim befriends Ziad, a child prodigy, he begins a journey to find the missing parts he needs to rebuild his piano and his life.
Welcome, Jimmy Kairouz. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So, you said this was inspired by a personal story.
Yeah, I have a personal connection to the story. It all started when I was in New York, and I, like every Lebanese and foreigner out there, I was constantly watching the news, and like most people, I was really shocked by the terrible events that were happening in the Middle East. And it was, I remembered what we used to say is that it was so shocking and violent that we used to say it's even, we only thought that these things are possible on films. And part of like doing my thesis at Columbia involved like doing a film about a topic that is kind of personal and
why
something.
Personal though?
Because it's the idea came when I came across an article about that a friend of mine shared about a young musician playing in Yarmouk. It's a refugee camp in Syria, and I remember in the article said that this guy has been threatened to get his finger cut off if he kept on playing. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was, I remember I was really shocked, and it was inconceivable that you could just, get killed.
Take away the stuff from
just by playing you could,
You said it was a story about freedom, it's also about music. We know that music is very important to you. You're also a musician, so you have this connection to the movie that you're about to make, which is basically how the gift of music can help save lives and give people hope.
That's correct.
Is that correct? Okay, so tell me, you have not started to shoot yet. You plan to shoot here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this has been a story that has been done over and over again. You know, we've seen The Pianist, which won an Academy Award. We've seen also Timbuktu, which was not about the piano specifically, but also about
several stories,
several instruments during war. Why do you think this theme that keeps coming back about music during war?
I mean, the angle I'm having to kind of like, for me, it's about, people are not mentioning that it's what the guy is going through in Syria is something. I mean, the team's popular because many people kind of are shocked by the fact that something as innocent and simple as music could be banned. And The Pianist, a lot of people mention The Pianist, and it's true, my film has kind of the same visual similarities. Like, it's about a guy playing in the midst of destruction.
Bombs in the background.
There's the guy playing in the midst of destruction, but mainly the story is why it's different, because mainly it's about a musician trying to rebuild his piano.
Right. So it's more about, it's something about, it's the theme of reconstruction and finding yourself through music again. Am I getting close at least?
Yeah, it's about, I mean, early on in the film, militants destroy his piano, and the short kind of the film is about rebuilding a piano amidst of destruction. A lot of films like Timbuktu and mentioned all the things that were banned, such as like smoking tobacco or improper dressing, but I wanted to have a different approach on the things that were banned.
I think it's so accurate in the sense that, you know, today what we're seeing with the current news, because you know we know a few things about that with ISIS and things being next door to us in Syria. You see a lot of these freedoms that are being banned, that are being taken away. So I think it's very accurate. You also chose to film it here in Lebanon because not only is it your hometown, but Lebanon has also seen a lot of destruction as well.
That's true.
Right? Is there a personal connection to Lebanon?
I mean, of course. I spent most of my life here. I spent 25 years here before going to New York. And actually, today we were location scouting in the morning, and we found an awesome location to shoot the film. And I'm really glad to be doing this here because
it's your country.
Yeah, it's my country, and also we thought about going to shooting elsewhere in the Middle East, like in Syria and Iraq, but it was impossible for obvious reasons.
It's a little more difficult, a little bit, unless you want an adrenaline rush or something of the sort. I'm going to ask you this question. You know, when Elie Darir won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, filmmaker Philippe Araktanji, known for Bosta and Héritage, you know, he said that by him winning, all of the Lebanese had won. He also said that given the fact that Elie had almost no help from any financial institutions, it was an incredible feat, and that it was time that the Ministry of Economy and Trade and financial institutions start helping these Lebanese directors and filmmakers that are struggling. So you, as a Lebanese filmmaker, do you feel the struggle?
Of course, it is a struggle. It's a new industry. It's not a big part of our economy like in the US. So it is a struggle, and that's why a lot of filmmakers have to do most of the time commercials or music clips or documentaries or editing or many other jobs. But I think it's important. I mean, it's what Elie Darir won, and I mean he won the Palme d'Or, and that's something huge. I think prior to that only Maroun Baghdadi won it. I think in '92 for Or la Vie, and it's really huge. So my producer said to me when I was meeting with him like 2 weeks ago, he said, "It's funny, after Elie Darir won, now everyone is excited again and wants to do a film." He told me if you came back like a month ago, people were like, "Yeah, less optimistic about films."
So he opened the doors, you think, to film?
He kind of opened the door, but generally speaking, I think there's a lot of productions, more productions right now than there ever was. I mean, I heard, I don't know if it's exactly accurate, but like around 10 films were being shot this summer.
Okay.
I know because I asked a couple of colleagues of mine. Like I told them like I want to shoot and I'll need a crew and everything. They told me everyone's shooting right now, which is great.
So it's a competitive industry. But hopefully, once this is done, you're going to have to come back and tell us about it.
Definitely.
And let us know how it works out.
I will.
And best of luck. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much.
That was writer and director Jimmy Kairouz talking about his new film project, Nocturne in Black. Back to you, Linda.
Thank you, Yumna. This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our top stories. Maronite Patriarch Shadadai says the Jajahoun Declaration of Intentions has left a favorable impact on the faithful and can pave the way for the election of a new president. Turks vote in crucial parliamentary elections taking into account economic promises, alleged state corruption and the Kurdish situation. And U.S. President Barack Obama urges fellow leaders of the G7 to stand up to Russian aggression in Ukraine. Those are your Sunday headlines from us here at Future Television. We'll see you again tomorrow for more updates. Take care.